That's your note. So the opening hymn is 395, Sing and Rejoice, and we're going to do it in a round. Are there enough people for 4 parts? I think there are. So we'll sing it all together once, then you're going to be first, second, third, and fourth. Got it? Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, let all things living now sing and rejoice, 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 let all things living now sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, let all things living now sing and rejoice. I didn't say do it through twice. Error on my part.
I invite you to stand as you're willing and able and join in reading our chalice lighting. It's new this month and by Leah Derlin Jones. As we light this flame, we remember friends and loved ones near and far, and we give thanks. As the fire burns brightly, we open our minds and hearts to new ways of being, and we feel alive. As the room glows with warmth and kindness, we extend our circle ever wider to welcome those who want to come in, and we know love.
Welcome. Welcome to St. John's Unitarian Universalist Church on this chilly and cold Sunday morning. Take a minute, settle in, and take a deep breath as we transition from entering to being in this space. We recognize and welcome that we are a congregation united in love even as we are separated in space, and we welcome those in this room as well as those online. I'm Melissa Rowland, the board president and today's worship associate. If you're here for the first time or the 50th time, you are welcome into this sacred space we create together. As Unitarian Universalists, we are guided not by one particular book or holy text, but rather by the journey that we are on together. Each month, we explore one theme and how it applies to our lives and our journey. This month, we are exploring generosity. Each service you hear this month will touch on that theme in some way. We hope you will journey with us for a variety of services and perspectives. No matter who you are, no matter how you love, you are welcome here in our religious community. Please join us in singing our first hymn. It will be a video online, available on the screen above me. You're welcome to sing along with the video. It's on video.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days light. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days light.
Please join me in reciting our affirmation. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands.
Sharing our joys and concerns is a sacred time in our worship together. It is a recognition that our whole self matters. The joys and the sorrows, the delights and the worries that we bring with us into this room. Here at St. John's, we honor our joys and concerns by coming forward to place stones representing all that we carry into the sand that represents the many and unique parts of our beloved community over all the years we have existed. If you would like a joy or concern to be read, please leave them on the table or in the chat. We have 2 joys from our online congregation. Carol and Dick Fensel are happy to spend their first weekend in their new home at Dupree House. And Amanda threw, my best little pup, Asparagus, did well during his procedure and is home and feeling better. That's wonderful. Congratulations to both of you. I want to invite you into a time of prayer or meditation with these words from Reverend Mark Morrison Reed. The central task of the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all. There is a connectedness, a relationship discovered amid the particulars of our own lives and the lives of others. Once felt, it inspires us to act for justice. It is the church that assures us that we are not struggling for justice on our own, but as members of a larger community. The religious community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen, and our strength too limited to do all that must be done. Together, our vision widens and our strength is renewed. I want to invite Ashley and our children and all of our young at heart, or anyone who feels called, to come forward for our story for all ages.
Good morning. So as Reverend Jenn said, my name is Ashley Rhodes, and I have a story for you all today, and it's a special kind of story. So Zen is a word that in Japanese just means meditation, and it's part of a tradition. One of the things that's part of Zen is these little stories. And they're not really designed to have a lesson. You guys, you think about fables, like Aesop's fables, they're pretty clear, like, okay, share, or they have a lesson. These stories don't necessarily have that, because the goal is they're tools, and if we sit with the story, they'll help us act in the moment with intuition. They don't have a goal, but they challenge us to examine our habits, desires, and fears. So, and this is a story, and we'll read some more of these. This is a story about Stillwater the panda, and he meets some children. Some of us have read this story before, and he shares some of these stories, and we're just going to do one. One of them is about his Uncle Rye. My Uncle Rye lived alone in a small house in the hills. He didn't own many things. He lived a simple life. One evening, he discovered he had a visitor. A robber had broken into the house and was rummaging through my uncle's few belongings. The robber didn't notice my Uncle Rye, and when he said hello, the robber was so startled he almost fell down. My uncle smiled at the robber and shook his hand. "Welcome, welcome. How nice of you to visit." What do you think the robber thought of that? Yeah. The robber opened his mouth to speak, but he couldn't think of anything to say to that. This was not what he expected. Now, my Uncle Rye never lets anyone leave his home empty-handed. So he looked around the tiny hut for a gift to give this robber. But there was nothing to give. Now, the robber was a little, weirded out. He was ready to leave. He started to back toward the door. But at last, Uncle Rye knew what to do. He took off his only robe, which was old and tattered. "Here," he said, "please take this." The robber thought my uncle was crazy, right? He took the robe, because he wasn't going to say no. He wanted to get out of there. He dashed out the door and escaped into the night. Now my uncle went out into the beautiful night, and he sat and looked at the moon. Its silvery light spilling over the mountains making all things quietly beautiful. Poor man, lamented my uncle. All I had to give him was my tattered robe. If only I could have given him this wonderful moon. And that's the end of that. Now we are going to light our chalice to take with us outside. So, yep, we're going to go outside. So, but first we got to light it. Thank you, everyone.
I want to invite Anne forward to offer our membership moment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ann Schur, and I'm here this morning to talk briefly about my path to membership at St. John's, to tell you what membership has meant to me, and to explain how to become a member at St. John's. My path began with my desire to find a church to attend with my newborn son. I attended Catholic Sunday school and Mass as a child, and though the teachings no longer resonated with me, I felt it would be good for my son to experience church. In the church I attended as a child, there was no coffee hour, no fellowship after Mass, so I was surprised by these things at St. John's. As a somewhat shy person and a busy single parent, I didn't immediately jump into the community at St. John's. I became a member. I made a small financial contribution commensurate with my means at the time, and I attended services most Sundays. Slowly, over time, I started making connections with fellow parents. I helped out with religious education for the kids. I dried dishes after coffee hour, and I occasionally attended activities at the church. Though I had joined to provide a church experience for my son, I learned how supportive a church community could be for me. After I graduated from my master's program, and as my son got older and my life became more manageable, I got more and more involved at St. John's, and I found myself changed. I became exposed to ideas that broadened my mind and expanded my compassion. I witnessed commitment to social justice in action. I experienced love and concern from my fellow St. Johners. I was able to gradually increase my financial pledge to reflect my appreciation for this community and its importance in my life. After 34 years, I'm still being challenged and spurred to growth by this community. I have come to better understand my role in white supremacy culture and its impact on Black and Indigenous people of color, and I strive to change my role. This place challenges me and holds me close. It provides opportunities for growth, some of them welcome, some of them painful. I now serve this community as a board member and program director. I'm also a member of Caring Circle and provide rides and make meals for folks needing some extra help during difficult life events. I grocery shopped for Found House, and I provided a meal one night. I also make an annual pledge to help pay for our minister and staff, and to keep the building in good repair, to provide outreach grants to our community partners in social justice. If you feel moved to deepen your commitment to St. John's by becoming a member, please see me at the front of the sanctuary after the service, where I can explain the membership process and where you can sign the membership book. I welcome you to deepen your connection to this community. We may delight you, and at times we may frustrate you. We will challenge you, and we will feed your soul. We will go through good times together, as well as bad times. And you will find friendship and companionship to help you along your journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. That was lovely. The offering that we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and to this people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission. St. John's is committed to creating a safe and caring community, working for peace and social justice, and celebrating beliefs that respect freedom of thought.
There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this
Our reading today comes from Reverend Rebecca Parker, and it's titled, Choose to Bless the World. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of our hands, the reaches of our heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise the sacred, do the work of justice or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question: what will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice, anesthetization, or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting that which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude, to search for the resources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice to draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping the faith, the life of ritual and praise, and the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, there is another possibility waiting. Please join me in singing hymn 1021 in the Teal hymnal.
choose to bless the world. Listen again to Reverend Rebecca Ann Parker's words. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. This past week, many of us were invited to bless the world when little pumpkins, superheroes, princesses, and others came to our doors. Virginia and I were thrilled that for the first time in our marriage, we live on a street with several families and actual sidewalks. Despite the cold temperatures, snow, really, our doorbell rang several times. And we smiled to see others in our neighborhood bundling up, lighting their fire pits, and sitting on their driveways, waiting for their own little visitors. They were ready to bless the world. A few years ago, there was a story about some teenagers who went reverse trick-or-treating. They dressed up as grandmothers and carried a door around. When they arrived at the house, they would ring the bell and hide behind their door until somebody came, at which point they would open the door, excitedly remark on the homeowner's costume, and give them candy. They were ready to bless the world. Now, sometimes we complain at Halloween, upset by kids who don't say trick or treat or thank you, upset with kids that we see as taking too much candy, or kids that return to the same house more than once. Upset with older kids that we perceive as being too old to participate in trick-or-treating, or who arrive without a costume. But most of the time, we are able to embrace Halloween as a fun night when we get to give. But what about other times of the year when people ask us to give? In February or May or August, if someone comes up to you for a gift of money, of food, does it feel like a welcome opportunity? Or do some of those concerns creep into your response? Do you find yourself worrying about how someone asked, about being taken advantage of? Do you find yourself concerned about whether they will take too much or ask too often, or wondering whether they are the kind of person you should give to? If we think back on the story that Ashley shared earlier, he encountered a man trying to steal from him, and his response was to offer up his tattered robe and then wish he could give the man the moon as well. Perhaps this story is similar to the one that Jesus of Nazareth had in mind when he taught his followers what to do when they are asked to give. According to the Christian scriptures, he said, "If someone sues you for your shirt, give up your coat as well. If a soldier forces you to carry his pack 1 kilometer, carry it 2. Now, do you think Jesus is saying his followers should be pushovers? No, not necessarily. According to some scholars, in that time and place, the law allowed for certain forced giving. A Roman soldier could force a Jewish civilian to carry his pack for up to a mile. Imagine then if the civilian said, "Oh, I'm just going to keep carrying this pack for the extra mile." Suddenly it's no longer a matter of force, of having to give. Going the extra mile could be a way of reclaiming your dignity, of reestablishing a deeper truth. Giving is something I get to do. It's a blessing, a part of my call to co-create in this world. We human beings have a fundamental need to contribute to life. Consider the response of many gay men when, in the 1980s, the FDA banned men who have sex with men from donating blood. It was a response to the AIDS crisis, but it hit many gay men hard to learn that they wouldn't be able to give this way. As the ban was gradually lifted and replaced with more specific risk assessments, many celebrated by rolling up their sleeves. Imagine fighting to be able to have a needle in your arm 6 times a year. It doesn't necessarily seem logical, but these men understood giving is something we get to do. It's an honor. I see this as I watch my daughter Addie explore what it means to give. One of her favorite games right now is to say, "I have a surprise for you." Once she has our attention, she'll quickly look around to find something that she can give us. It might be a block or a stuffy or a sticker, but for her, the joy is in the giving. It's not really about the gift itself. At a play date recently, Addie noticed that another kid wanted a toy that she was using. She excitedly handed it over, but the other kid's parent was troubled. "Oh, she was using that. I don't want her to feel pressured to give it up." And well, I appreciate that parent's concern, but there was no need to give the toy back to Addie. She was excited that she got to give. Perhaps that parent had too many experiences where they felt they had to give to avoid punishment or to keep the peace. Perhaps they've been taken advantage of in the past. It's easy to understand how someone might react with worry or fear when invited to give. But if we understand giving as something we get to do, it might fundamentally change our approach to requests. If one person asks another to help in some way, they are offering a valuable opportunity. Why should I get to give but you don't? What am I saying if I enjoy giving but then think, "Oh, no, you can't have the same opportunity. Giving is something I get to do, not you." Here in our church settings, I sometimes hear this around pledge time. People worry it would be inappropriate to invite everyone to pledge. What if someone feels pressured? What about those who don't have much money? And I can tell you, as someone who grew up working class and then found myself in UU churches, I wanted to be part of growing the tradition. I wanted to share what resources I could, and it wasn't much. I wanted to be invited to give. If others got to give, got to participate in creating this world in that way, so should I. How would this attitude change the way we ask one another to volunteer time and resources? Could that change the way we see one another as fellow divine beings whom we honor with our requests? And what else might change for us here at St. John's is if we treated giving as something people get to do. When needs arise in our community, what would it look like if everybody eagerly welcomed the opportunity to give? If we spoke about it as something we get to do? How would that change the way we look at our church budget? Can you imagine individuals and committees might find themselves arguing over who gets to fund a new program or a building repair? This isn't a hint, it's just a sermon. What stands in the way of becoming people who think and talk about giving it this way? After all, most religious traditions teach not only that we should give, but that we should give with joy and thanksgiving. But this is hard. And why is that? Well, the one thing that really dampens joy reliably is fear. And many fears arise when we think about giving. There's the fear of scarcity. If I give my money or my energy, will there be enough left for me? If I vote to fund the parks, will there be enough for the highways? If we as a church increase our resources for religious education, will we have resources for the choir? Concern about whether there will be enough is understandable. And as people of faith, we need spiritual skills for dealing with those concerns. Skills that are rooted deep in our values, that help us make decisions from a place besides fear. One spiritual skill is a sense of mission. Why are we here? What is our purpose? What is our ultimate goal? Thinking about these big questions can help us respond with hope for the future, not fear, when we are invited to give. Another spiritual skill is wisdom. As Unitarian Universalists, we are open to learning from many different sources, but we must develop wisdom to determine which sources should influence us. In our culture, there are people and companies who are highly invested in making us worry that we don't have enough. It's how marketers sell us a product. It's how politicians get us to see others as a threat. They rely on us believing there won't be enough for us if someone else gets what they want or need. Learn to recognize and resist those messages that create fear of scarcity for you. There's plenty of food in this world. There's plenty of time and money among people in this congregation and in Cincinnati. And there's plenty of love and respect to go around. Finally, we need a spiritual skill of mindfulness. Notice when you experience a fear reaction. Where does it come from for you in your body? For me, I feel it in my chest and my belly. And develop an awareness of those sensations. And when they arrive, take a deep, slow breath. Fear isn't bad. We can thank it for doing its job, for looking out for us, and then release it before we decide how to respond. Another common fear that can keep us from joyfully giving is the fear of being taken advantage of or looking foolish. How many of you have been approached on the streets by a person asking for money or telling an elaborate story about why they needed help? I'd be surprised if you didn't raise your hands. After hearing one such story, a friend of mine offered the storyteller some cash. As they walked away, his wife said, "You didn't really believe that story, did you?" My friend replied, "Well, no, but it was such a great story. I was paying for the performance, if nothing else." He wasn't really concerned if he was being taken advantage of. He wasn't concerned about whether others would think he was foolish. He just welcomed the opportunity to give back in exchange for what he had been given, a moment of listening to a good story. I know some of you, many of you at St. John's have received emails from scammers pretending to be me. Yeah. The emails, I think most, if not all of them, have asked you to get pharmacy gift cards and send them off to supposedly help others. For the record, that is not me. It's a widespread scam that is impacting many churches these days. The other two ministers, UU ministers that I talked to, said they're getting hit hard as well. But it works because we as people of faith value giving. And we can respond in different ways to this scam. We could feel fear of being taken advantage of, becoming suspicious of any request for help. We could feel proud that our suspicions protected us from the scam. We could feel foolish if we've already been scammed and not want others to know. But I want you to remember, your worth and dignity aren't up for question. As Unitarian Universalists, we know those are a given. You are a person of inherent worth and dignity. You have nothing to prove here, no pride to protect. So, what if we did something different? What if instead of reacting with pride, suspicion, or fear, we responded to this scam with joy and thanksgiving? We are people called to co-create this world. We are people for whom giving is a part of our purpose. And the scammers want to take advantage of our values. So let's carry the pack the extra mile, remembering our dignity as people who get to give. If you already bought pharmacy gift cards, bring them to church. We'll make sure that they go to people who need them. If you didn't receive a scam email or didn't buy the gift cards, consider picking one up this week. Let's see if we can gather as many as were requested. And we'll make sure that they go to the right place. Let's take this attempt to scam our congregation not as a cause for fear, but as a welcome opportunity to live our values. And if you bought cards and you sent them to the scammers, let them go as a blessing. Remember the Zen master from our story, if only we could give him the moon. Offer your thanks for the universe that you were able to give and move on to your next opportunity. My beloved spiritual companions, every day we are invited to create the world. We get to give our money and our time. We get to give our grace and our forgiveness. We get to give our patience and our joy. And as we move into the fall and winter holiday season, may we experience deep gratitude for each opportunity to give. May we come to embrace every request as a blessing, a chance to connect more fully with our call in this world. Blessed be, my friends. Amen.
Thank you. That was such an inspiring message. We do have a few announcements. After the service in Kroll Pfeiffer, Reverend Jenn will lead us in a conversation to deepen our experience of offering radical hospitality. This intergenerational event is for everyone who played a part in St. John's hospitality to the Found House guests last month, or in previous weeks this year. There will be childcare available, and there will also be child-friendly ways for them to participate in the reflection. Next week is a Soup and Bread Sunday. Please sign up if you can to bring soup or bread or dessert, and join us next week for a lovely lunch. Stan Loeb will be our photographer for new people who haven't had their picture taken for our photo wall. The photos will be happening next Sunday on the 12th and as well on the 19th. Yes, also for people who want fresh photos. It has been a while for some of us. Please look in your order of service for other announcements regarding the men's group potluck and program and the sustainability event, the next forum that will be on November 19th. And please rise as you are willing or able to sing hymn 21, For the Beauty of the Earth.
May you be filled with the blessings of this community. May you carry them with you as you depart from here. May you discover the places in the world where these blessings are needed. May you have the courage to share them. May there be an open place within you to receive the blessings of the people whom you meet along the way. Go in peace